Hey there, awesome coaches. First off, I just want to give a fist pump to every coach out there who is struggling, feels like they have been down every road and block trying to figure out their niche, their ideal client, and has done that work, but feels just overwhelmed and confused. What we're going to dive in today, and I do highly suggest to go to Rachel A. Feldman backslash free tools because rachelafeldman.com/backslash free tools because you can get access to 2 video trainings that I know will help you as far as how to launch a challenge, the many different ways to use it, how to launch a workshop and a freebie, and what list building is all about. So please do that. Watch the videos, do your homework. Okay, for today's presentation, we are going to deep dive into the elements, the 4 essential elements of building your signature wellness biz. As a person who did that and built her biz in the recession in 2010, I know the struggle is real. And I also know from seeing in a bird's eye view with many different coaches who have bought content, programs from us, workshops, etc., that sometimes it feels extremely overwhelming on how to use the content. So I'm going to start at the top, and we call this your business funnel. Many people talk about your signature offer or a group, but we don't talk about the whole business funnel and how that customer journey is for your ideal client. So we're going to roll it back to the basics. Step 1, and I took some notes, guys, so I can stay on track. Step 1, we do need to know our niche. I know that this feels complicated. Many of you also feel, and you've paid so much money to either business coaches, masterminds, paid for Facebook ads, and you still feel defeated. I encourage you to look at some of the pioneers in the industry, Marie Forleo, Donald Miller, who talk about niche and story. And so you may know your niche, but the one thing that we often forget when we start building our business is that feeling we had when we first signed up for school. Whatever that was, how long ago, it's imperative for you to write that down. What was your journey? What is the story behind your business, behind your offerings, behind your freebies, behind your social media posts? We have to be intentional. And if we're not, and we have messages that go all over the place or confuse our client, not only do we feel confused, but they feel confused. So first off, write your story. I call this the hero journey, the story timeline. You can see this in the work of Donald Miller. Amy Porterfield speaks about this. Many other people. And so you want to write that down first, the why part of it. Simon Sinek talks about the why part, which is so essential for sales, but it's even more essential so that somebody knows what you're about and you also know why you're creating the business that offers. So secondly, it is your niche. And most often we will create a business, biggest problem, we create a business that serves our dream business, what we thought we were going to create in school. And often, not always, but often that fails, or we don't see conversions. So we've spent a lot of energy, we spend a lot of time, and we're still not seeing client conversions. And this is where I see the breaking point because we haven't exactly taken our story and then said, what do people always come to me for? Because many of you didn't just arrive in this health business the day that you started school. I guarantee if you took 30 minutes right now, or whenever you're listening to this, and wrote down, well, my story was, we're just going to do a hypothetical. Let's take Jess Royston, one of our success coaches who specializes in gut. When she first bought our detox, she launched that detox, but it wasn't just talking about a detox because she knew that her mommy, her ideal client, often came to her for gut food allergies, green living, plant-based, how they feed their kid on processed foods. She knew the things that she talked about constantly. And she also knew the very topics, questions that people came to her about. Write those down now. Because if Jess didn't talk about the weight loss that some of her moms wanted, or the sleep issues, or any of these topics, she would have been missing out. Now, that doesn't mean, let me say this clearly, that we develop an entire business around weight loss. I want you, similar to what Jess and many of our success coaches, as well as what I did in the beginning, I want you to say, so here's the story. Here's my why. In that why and your story are probably a lot of things that you have gone through, which is why for a lot of coaches, it makes it really difficult to niche down. But when I asked coaches, and when it was asked to me by my first 5 coaches, what do you want to be known for? What if you were to say, okay, all this, the adrenal and the skin and the detoxification and the focus issues and all of these things that you talk about, what do you believe is that one thing that you want to be known for? And I said, well, that's it. It's gut. I do believe at the core fundamental gut, all disease begins in the gut. So I wrote that down. But I knew, and this is a big moment of clarity, I knew that not all of my ideal client, not all of the people who are coming to me knew what gut-brain axis was, or even what leaky gut. And I only knew this because I started to show up in that awareness part of the funnel, which is the sole reason you have list builders. The sole reason that you start testing it. As one of my mentors says, we only know what our ideal client is looking for if we show up and start to talk about these topics. So Jess, similar to me, knew it was gut. But I also knew, based on speaking to people, even before I had clients, asking friends, asking people at work, asking family members, do you understand gut? Let me just test this out. And so without creating everything in my business that would serve me, I started asking other people. It is the ask method. It is the ask method that Ryan, that one of the gentlemen I used to follow for sales and marketing, he has this ask method. You have to ask people, hey, you know, in a group, or even before you have clients, ask your friends, do you know what are the core fundamentals of gut health? So whatever you want to be known for, get really clear, write that down. Then there's your teaching pillars. And this is where the magic happens, because your teaching pillars are exactly what Jess had said to me. Well, my moms are coming to me for weight loss. They're coming to me for toxin-free living. They're coming to me, and she had her list. Those are your teaching pillars. For some of you, another example with hormone health, I have many coaches in my membership, and we're defining our signature process right now, not our signature business. I mean, not our signature program, but our signature process, which is essential for you to build an amazing signature business. Some coaches in there, hormone is what they thought their business would be, but everyone comes to them for weight. So they're known as a weight loss coach. Their signature process is what makes them different. That is what stands out. So then in awareness, you're so clear on the explaining. I'm known for this niche, and my teaching pillars help that person to understand the elements of weight loss done different. So for that coach, it is metabolism as one pillar, sugar as another, gut as another, and hormones. Because when I ask every coach, great, so you're known for hormones, but does every one of your awesome women who are coming to you, do they understand hormones? And sometimes if I'm working with a hormone coach and speaking to her, it's, oh yeah, they know they have fertility issues. They know there is estrogen dominance, but many, don't understand the core fundamentals of how hormone and weight are connected. So then you're writing down your pillars. This allows you to create amazing list builders. So it's not anymore the question of, should I launch this? Should I have a challenge? Should I have a freebie? Should I have a PDF format with video teaching series? It's instead, wow, I know every one of the problems. I know my story, how it relates to my niche, my teaching pillars. And so, furthermore, I know exactly this is the intuitive part of building an epic business. Because when you're so clear, your freebies, your workshops, your lives, your Instagram feed, your social media, your YouTube videos, podcast interviews, and more are a reflection of your niche and the pillars, because you know these are the problems that your clients have. And so the marketing of each of those doesn't become anymore us feeling frustrated because we're not converting, because you know the promise of that freebie. You know the why, the promise, and who it's for. That is essential elements of your business. It's essential elements of crafting your list building strategy. It's essential elements of crafting your offers, which comes to the next. So knowing the problem and the desires is essential. Knowing the habits of your ideal client, also known as the avatar work, that we all know from the amazing Marie Forleo, who has so many free videos on this exact simple process. We then move to crafting that value ladder. So if we were to start at the highest ticket program, maybe you have a $10,000 coaching program, or a mastermind, or a high-end retreat, or that exclusive spot that you have for your client, VIP days, small masterminds, intensives, any of your higher ticket. When you're creating your mid offer and your lower offers, those are the mini steps. So let me say this again. Your higher value offer, for example, your 6-month intensive with somebody who is desperately trying to get pregnant, or desperately getting their gut, and they are committed. They trust you because they've seen you talk. You're building the awareness. You're leading them to list builders that solve the problem they have. Your social media feeds off of those list builders. Your signature list builders are on your website. Those are gateway entrances. The exact problem that you know is proven, and that you know your client, or your ideal client, your potential client, because you can see her, or you can see him, or you can see this couple. You're so clear in visualizing the very problems they have each day. They're 24-hour roadblocks. So then crafting offers and test offers, test freebies, test nurturing versus paid is easy. And then that person, your ideal client, is sitting there in a world of everyone saying the same thing. You're standing out. You're the louder one. You're the clearer one, because you say, well, of course, to get to this 6-month commitment, this encompasses step 1, 2, 3, and 4. These also mirror my signature elements. They reverse engineer from the hero journey, the steps your ideal client has to take to go from A to Z. So your higher offer, your commitment offer, reflects that, because that person is all in. Your mid is a mini step. Not only is it the psychology of the buyer that you figure out the pricing strategy, but it's imperative for you also in your mind to know, and please feel free to Google this, the customer life cycle, because it's so clear to you. That's why on my podcast, when I interviewed Dr. Dixie, she knew what she wanted to create, because it was so clear to her. the pain that her client feels when she can't afford her $700 introductory offer. She knew that she needed a different offer to work for that woman who couldn't afford or wasn't ready to commit. We all know sales. Sales, Grant Cardone. I went to 10X. Easy. Buy that book. Easy peasy to create the response to any objection. That is sales 101. What is difficult is what the best do. The best know those, and they're not even canned responses because they know their ideal client. And they know that if that ideal client comes in at the middle offer, then of course, if it's 10 grand, if it's 2, 10, 20, if they come in the middle offer and they have success, they're going to say, just like if they came in on a lower cost offer, they're going to say, wow, that was amazing. I worked with this person for only 90 minutes or a 2-hour session. And I was able to not only get so much value, but this coach helped me through this problem. That problem is step one, because that's your lower cost. And for some of you, you will have some of these lower cost options in your one-on-one, virtually, brick and mortar. Some of you, you will have these lower cost offers in your do-it-yourself or your courses or your groups, whether it's virtually or face-to-face. And some of you will have this middle offer because you know that not everyone goes all in. It doesn't matter whether uncertain times, it doesn't matter at what time you launch your programs, although please think of your ideal clients and their habits for buying. Launching your signature business is not just about the perfect program. It's you knowing the habits of your ideal client because you can see she or he so clearly because you stepped into their shoes. That's called the empathy. That is extremely important. It's not just of us creating the program. It's the empathy. It's stepping into the shoes of your ideal client so that when you close your eyes, you see that person. You can feel them. You know their objections. You know how busy that CEO who is a high-powered sales woman or man, you can think of their life. You can think of the areas that they are struggling with that aren't even conscious, because the power of the sales that I do, selling from the soul, is truly stepping into the shoes of your client and knowing their objections because you've either been there or you're so close to the pain and the desire. And for many of you, you have been in their shoes. But the harder part is to step back and say, well, my ideal client may be like me, but maybe they're not an all-in, self-modulated, committed person. They don't catch themselves when they're stress eating, overeating. They need accountability. For many coaches, that is not the biggest struggle. That may be, I would say 25% of coaches truly struggle in that area. They often specialize in another area, or they say, this was my struggle forever. I would say most coaches that I know are the coaches that during any stressful time, if we stress eat, we do it for a night and say, man, I want to let it go. Maybe that wasn't in the beginning, but that's where the steps come into action. Am I going to take a woman who desires weight loss and has been binge eating and she's not telling a soul out of shame and guilt? Am I going to take her right to a program like we have, like 3 months eating with intention? Is she ready for intuitive eating? Does she know how to tap into intuition? Does she know how to be brutally honest about her fears? Most often, there's trust issues. Many of us as coaches make the mistake where we are running group programs when maybe we should have a one-on-one aspect. Or we're running group programs, but because we didn't brainstorm, you can see right there, one of my many whiteboards, because we didn't brainstorm the customer experience, the client journey, we have not only lost an opportunity to say, do you want to personalize? I know you're in this group. Here's my special VIP price for a 90-minute intensive. That is a lower cost price because it serves that person. Not only does it serve that person, but it serves you. You get to be of service, and you also get to be paid for doing what you love. Too often we focus on this one, I say, put all the eggs in one basket. If you listen to the interview I had with Terry Walls, who was a person at light at the end of my tunnel when I really thought my autoimmune was going to be the death of me. I say, and I even feel the tears because I know that pain of being diagnosed again, being told, we don't know what's going on with you. I can go through all of that pain. That's why an essential part is what I said earlier. You have to know your story. You have to know why you do it. And when Terry Walls said, that's exactly what I teach our students, because not everyone is ready to commit. This weight loss woman that we talked about, of course she wants to let go of the very things that have her jailed in her body, in her mind, in her soul, and her spirit. Of course, she wants to not be counting points, not to be drinking Diet Cokes in front of her daughter. She wants to not pass on this sickness that she has inherited in her life. It's her dream. It's where she cries at night when she's looking in the mirror. It's also when she puts on a dress and she finds herself saying, oh, I just look so fat. And her child sees that, her daughter or son, and she is filled with shame. And that's why we hold secrets. And that's why we don't reach out always for the highest all in. It's not just financial. It's sometimes that woman is not ready. And so when you think of how you're running your business, it's not to say that you shouldn't teach intuitive eating. We get to change the system. We get to change the very things that we wish were not there, from body image to emotional eating to martyring through our life. We get to give power back to our clients to say no instead of yes. That was why I became a coach. I became a coach for a number of different reasons, but I'm not going to get in that today because that is everywhere. What I want you to take away from this time is, where in your business have you fallen short because either you were running another blueprint or a roadmap that didn't fit your ideal client? Where have we fallen short with our niche or even in crafting our offers? What is the value ladder? What steps? What is your signature process? And then really taking the time, as we were taught many years ago, to take out the calculator and say, how many discovery calls do I need to get? But guess what, guys? We're only going to get discovery calls when our awareness, when we are showing up, testing these subjects, asking people, and then leading them to list builders or opportunities, free opportunities that make sense for their problem. And please, before I leave, I will say this. Many of us overthink this. Many of us wait for the perfect moment, so we don't hit the live button. We don't reach out and put our fear to the side and say, hey, I really love, your yoga place, or I really love this. What workshops would your clients love here? I know that I can fill this really great missing hole, and we can also co-collaborate. A pitch is that simple. I would say in my experience and those that I've spoken to, it's that they don't wait. They feel the fear. It's always scary to build your dream business and to go after it. It takes a lot of courage. We also need to do what we require from our clients, which is to take a chance. That means publishing the blog. That means doing the video. That means instead of saying, how do I create a teaching series? We Google, how do you create a teaching series? We get to see that there's all these opportunities. Even though we feel lost in business, there's Google and there's YouTube, which we can learn at this point, anything, which is why YouTube was the game changer for me when I started my business and I didn't have the funds and I also felt overwhelmed. A success mindset, a mindset to create the business that you desire and have the courage to build, not just build it, but reach out and put yourself out there can be tough, but it's not impossible. And yes, about a teaching series, all you have to do is use zoom.us, get a PowerPoint from us or anything that you have or a challenge and create mini videos. You can also do it on your phone. You can also do it with a video recorder. You can also do it on loom.com via Chrome. When coaches, when we as human beings, wellness entrepreneurs embrace a success mindset versus fear, then the possibilities are endless because all of the information is truly on YouTube. The basic logistics. The hard part is the developing a very clear message and the why behind it. And who is that offer for? And why would it benefit them? Why would it change their lives if they sign up for this free offer or join your workshop or come to your group? If we start saying, why does this benefit? How would this change their life? And what that requires is each one of us to 100% believe in our offerings and let go of any imposter syndrome or doubt. So with that being said, guys, I wanted to make this under 30 minutes and home run, we did that. If any of you know me, you know that I tend to talk longer, go into many different stories, but we're going to make these streamlined. I do encourage you to join our free group. If you go to my website, you will see at rachelafelman.com. If you're in it and you're struggling, I encourage you to look for free resources and be willing to let go of what is not working. Because when I hear coaches say, I've spent so much money, I've tried everything, then often we are not willing to shift our niche, shift our message, shift our teaching pillars. It's very simple. Don't overthink it. Try it out. Put yourself out there. You came here not as a passion. This is a purpose. Many of us, myself included, have struggled for many years with health issues. And that is one of the reasons that I do this, because I truly believe health information should be available to all. That's freedom. And it's not. It's hard to find, causes adrenal, causes stress. And many of us have, mystery illnesses where we've had to navigate that. And guess what? That story is extremely important for your ideal client to hear from you, to connect. It's not always just the offer. It's you connecting and being relatable. So with that being said, guys, it's always a pleasure. If you're looking for help on which programs to buy or looking at some examples, please reach out at yourhealthcoachbiz.com. Let us know what the problem is, what your goal is, and I guarantee that we can help you. But at the end of the day, please listen to what I just said. I don't think I'm the only cat in town, but at the same time, I know a lot of coaches go down many different paths that take them away from this core fundamental work. It never changes. It gets refined. Your niche changes when you find that it's not converting. Don't keep going down a path that leads you to frustration. change the game. The time is now. I will see you guys later. If you have any questions, reach out to us. And I'm giving you a huge virtual hug and a fist pump virtually. All right, guys. See you. Bye, guys.